Good morning. This is Julia, and today is Monday, October 31st, 2011. You're listening to WCRX-LP, Columbus, Ohio, 102.1 FM, the broadcast radio service of Bexley Public Radio Foundation. You may visit our website at www.wcrxlp.com. Our inspirational message for today is, if you are a leader, you should never forget that everyone needs encouragement. Everyone receives it, whether they're young or old, successful or less than successful, unknown or famous. They're all changed by it. Mark Twain, a novelist, once said, one compliment can keep me from going for a whole month. The impact encouragement makes on people can be profound, whether it's a family member or coming from a teacher or a good friend. A word of encouragement from a spouse can save a message. A word of encouragement from a teacher to a child can change a life. Zig Ziglar once said, you never know when a moment and a few sincere words can have an impact on a life. So people who lift others don't wait until tomorrow or some other better day to help people. They act now. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to have it all together. All you have to do is care about people and initiate. No act is too small, no kindness too insignificant, no positive word too uninspired. You may make someone's day, or you may change the course of their life. It's time for the Toastmasters Table Talk and a little information for those of you who did not know. In 1981, the Toastmasters had 90,000 members. Now it has more than 270,000. It started 87 years ago in the month of October, 1924. And Toastmasters now has 6 new countries: Angola, Aruba, Mongolia, Rwanda, Slovenia, and Vietnam. And here's a little good information for all of you Toastmasters who did not know, and for those of you who do know. December 2011, Toastmasters 3002, their group, will be celebrating their 50th anniversary. In 15 to 18 of those years, 3002 had their meetings at the Whitehall City Building on Yearling Road. More information will be coming regarding that 50-year celebration. Now to T. Wayne.
Good morning, Julia. It's showtime. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm real good, real good. Excited about our guest today and our topic. As we said starting out, this is all about education. And again, the station's goal here is to make sure that they educate people who want to be broadcasters and Toastmasters. We're here to develop leaders and speakers. What I want to lead off with today is our table talk tip of the week. And we're going to talk about the power of stories. I listened to Patricia Fripp, she's a great speaker and trainer, and she just said, if you really want to sell your speech or sell your service, you really have to include stories. And she outlined 3 things that you need to have in a story when you give a story. And she talked about character, dialogue, and a dramatic lesson learned. And they say you never tell a story without making a point, and you never make a point without telling a story. One of the things that she was saying is that people don't remember what you say, but they remember the story and the picture that is created in their mind as they listen to you. And stories are the currency. She also says stories are the currency of human contact. Now, just to kind of give you a little example of a story that I like to tell, to give you a little tidbit, I played for West Virginia University back in the mid-'70s, played for Bobby Bowden, who's now retired. But one of the stories that I like to tell is called Are You Ready? And I'll just give you a little tidbit. In the story Are You Ready, I show up as a freshman, real cocky, big man on campus, feel like I'm going to play, and get there and find out that I'm not going to play because a guy by the name of Tree Adams, actually Tree just passed the other day, that kind of inspired me to tell this story. He's Tree was about 6'6", 265 pounds. He was a big man with a big heart, and he could turn a backward flip. So when I saw him do that in practice, of course, I was pretty worried. But to give you a little flavor is, talking about character. That's Tree. He's a flesh and blood character, and that's what you want to do when you tell a story. You want to use people's names. And then what happened with Tree and I is I played offensive tackle, and Tree played defensive tackle. And of course, I was a rookie freshman. I was on the scrub team, and I lined up against Tree to block for the quarterback. Now, my job was to either protect the quarterback or open up pathways for the running backs with the football. We get down in our stance, and the quarterback calls the cadence, and he goes, second count. He goes, blue 23, hike, second hike, and the play is over. Next thing I hear the quarterback hit the ground like a sack of potatoes, and the coach hollers out, "Hey, Gatewood!" He said, "Son, you didn't even touch the quarterback." And I turn around and look. I'm still in my stance, folks. For those of you that are football fans, I'm still in my stance while Tree is got the quarterback. And then and we're talking about a dramatic lesson learned, is what I learned was I wasn't ready. I was not ready to play college football, and the coach let me know. His comment was, "Son, with an effort like that," he said, "you'll never make it in college football." So of course I was pretty shocked and went on about my way, and the rest is history, as they say. But anyway, one of the things that I want to leave you with as far as stories is that, people, they may not want you to give them a sales pitch, but they sure want to listen to a story. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. I've had fun telling that. Again, my friend Tree just passed this past week, and I just hope his family's all right. But anyway, big guy. He really helped me out as a college athlete. The next thing I want to do is introduce our guest. We've got a gentleman here by the name of Mr. Goldsmith, Larry Goldsmith. He's going to be speaking on our topic today. As I was reading over Larry's bio, it's pretty powerful. I got a chance to see Larry at several of the conferences, and he doesn't really say that much. I see him walking around. He's got this smirk on his face. Now I know why. Well, I saw them introduce some of the things he had done before, but when I read this guy is serious about Toastmasters, and he's done some great things. And I'm gonna start out and hit this bio for you. It says Goldsmith, noun, one who makes articles of gold. Larry Goldsmith, L-T-G-E-T, one who earns gold over and over. Okay, here we go. He's earned 8 advanced communicator golds as of June 25th, 2011. Man. He's got 58 educational awards, 12 new clubs, 1 new area that he's developed. Club coach for 3 clubs. Club offices. Larry has held president, vice president of education, vice president of membership, vice president of public relations, and secretary and treasurer. And he's been area governor 6 times. Come on, Larry. What are you doing here? Do you work at all? What are you, my goodness. He's the Speechcraft coordinator 5 times. He did District 40 Toastmaster of the Year. He won that award. And then he wonders why his wife wonders if his wife says he's active enough for the 2 of them in Toastmasters. Larry Goldsmith is the epitome of a Toastmasters overachiever. We'll say, Larry, just a few notches. Good gracious. Been mentoring dozens of other Toastmasters, selling the Toastmaster program throughout the Central Ohio area, and attending meetings wherever he can. Larry says his Toastmasters experiences has helped him become a more confident and capable leader and communicator, and has really advanced his career at Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company. Larry is looking forward to serving District 40 as the Lieutenant Governor for Education and Training. Well, he does all this other stuff, probably still. But then he hopes his leadership opportunity will help him pass on what he's learned in Toastmasters, so others can grow in the program. He's looking forward to serving you and helping you achieve your goals during the coming year. again, now I know why, Larry, you always had that smirk on your face, like you know they say the cat that swallowed his parakeet or whatever. But anyway, pretty impressive. We're glad to have you on this today. And what I would like for you to do too is go ahead and give us can we get a testimonial? It doesn't have to be quite this long, but give me something. What really brought you to Toastmasters? Your own testimonial.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Thank you, T.
Yes, sir.
I was afraid you were going to go through the whole bio and we were going to run out of time.
Well, actually, it's Larry Alphabets. Let's go.
But what brought me to Toastmasters? In all honesty, I was doing technical presentations in my job. I'm a solutions analyst, business analyst, an analyst in general, and a lot of my job was to do presentations regarding IT solutions. And they were very technical in nature. Now, I have a dramatic arts degree, and so I wasn't using that creative side of my presentations. And so what happened was I ended up attending my first Toastmasters meeting, won the table topics conversation on that day, and realized that that really tied into my creative side and helped me become enjoy my job more, because it gave me a creative outlet, and that's what Toastmasters did. And then when I really got into the program, I understood just how important it is to practice public speaking in a safe and friendly environment. Because in anything that you want to succeed in, whether it's football or crafts or anything, you need to practice. And there was not a good place to practice public speaking skills until I found the Toastmaster Club.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. Okay, I've got another gentleman here. He's joining us today. His name is Charlie Ashley. He was here with us last week. He can't get enough of it, so he's going to work with us again. This is my mentor once again. Anyway, Charlie's going to give his testimony. I gave a little bit on Charlie last week. He's done so much in Toastmasters. I think this is about his 25th year. I've watched Charlie go back through other manuals. He's went back through the Competent Communicator Manual, probably, which is our beginning manual, at least 3 or 4 times. He was in the military. He started doing Toastmasters then. So Charlie's got quite a background. So I'm going to let Charlie go ahead and give you his testimonial, and we'll take it from there. Go ahead, Charlie.
Thank you, T. Wayne. I started in 1974, and I was second lieutenant in the United States Army. And one of the things that kept drilling into us is you need to be able to brief effectively. I did a couple of briefings, and my commander came up and said, "Charlie, you need to have a little bit of improvement." Coming from a senior officer, a little bit of improvement is like, you need an awful lot there, son. So as a consequence, I found a Toastmasters club that was on base at the time, on post, at Fort Hood, Texas. And the rest is history. I joined the Toastmasters down in Killeen, Texas. And from there, I have been able to be on, I've briefed in the U.S., I've briefed overseas, I've briefed general officers, I've done major projects, briefings, it goes on and on. The interesting thing is Toastmaster is, when I was a young lieutenant, Toastmasters was sort of important, but as I went through the ranks, the ability to present my ideas became increasingly important. So by the time I achieved the higher ranks, the ability to effectively do presentations, briefings became the absolute necessity. So Toastmasters helped me the absolute best when I was in the most need, and that is when I was in the senior ranks. And for that, I return control to T. Wayne.
All right, thanks, Charlie. Okay, we're going to get right into our topic today, which, I don't know, I think it's going to be kind of interesting. I had a little fun with this topic, had a first-hand experience. Anyway, our topic today is airport security. Is it too intrusive? Well, guys, I want to jump in and start out. Can I start out here? Would you mind?
Oh, please, go ahead.
Okay. I think, what month was it? A couple months ago, I was out in California, and those that know me know I wear bib overalls when I'm out and about doing what I do. And I usually change them going to the airport before I go to the airport. But I came through the airport, and I had on my bib overalls, and I took all the metal out of my pockets, and you can see all the other pieces of metal. And I stepped through, and I knew what was going to happen. They had to frisk me. So when I stepped through, and the guy pulled me to the side, he said, "Do you want to go? You mean do it right here? Or you want to go over in the?" some little booth they have. And I just told him, I said, well, as long as you don't do anything weird, we can do it right here. And he did a fine job as far as I was concerned. I really didn't want to get frisked, but, you know, it really wasn't that big of an issue with me, just as long as they did it correctly. After all we had going on with 9/11 and everything that happened, I'm really glad to see that we're paying attention, you know, and protecting our country. So I don't, you won't get any real qualms from me as long as they keep things decent and in order.
Didn't you say something earlier when you're telling a story about something, you said something weird?
Yes, something weird.
Yeah, you're talking about what you said to the guy who was frisking you?
Yes, sir.
Can you relate to that?
Can I relate to it?
Can you tell us that?
Well, I did. I said that. Yeah, I said. I just said as long as he didn't do anything that I felt was weird, like reach up and hold on too long or anything like that.
I was just asking for clarification. I just, you know, the word is.
That's clear. Yeah, you want me to define weird? Okay.
Yeah, because that leads into further on conversation.
Well, yeah, like I said, weird is you did whatever you did too long.
Okay.
But was it extensive? Did you feel that?
I felt he did his job, but I mean, he did it. The way he did it is the way I would have done it if I was trying to make sure someone didn't have weapons or anything. I'm sure that if they really wanted to, they'd go a little further. But yeah, I felt he was okay.
By any chance, have you seen the YouTube YouTube video where they're frisking the 5-year-old?
I haven't seen that. Have you seen it, Larry?
I've not seen it, but I heard I heard all the information regarding it, and I was shocked that they went through with it. But I'm sure, you know, it's one of those things where there's not a standard. I mean, I know there are standard rules, but with so many airports, it's hard to make a standard what they're going to do and how they're going to execute it. And with anything, there's power issues where people abuse it or take it too far. And I think this is one of those cases where, you know, they had a situation and they tried to handle it in the most professional way, and it went too far, in my opinion.
Well, that's interesting, because I looked at the video, I heard all the negatives, pros and cons of all the people talking about it, saying how terrible, how awful, everything else, that they were doing this horrible body cavity search of this 5-year-old, when in fact, I actually, once I viewed the YouTube, it turned out that I thought the TSA person did a fairly decent job. Actually, he did an excellent job. But what concerned me was the hue and the cry of how the public has taken this incident, has turned it into, I guess, a banner of how the TSA is being too excessive, when in fact, after you view the video, they've done a credible job. My concern is, why did they have to do it at all? You see this 5-year-old, you can just look at him and know there's no possible way he could be hiding anything like an AK-47 or anything else like that in his short pants leg. I feel that perhaps the TSA rules and regulations don't give enough leeway to the people in order to make what I would call a common sense judgment. What do you feel about that, Larry?
All right. Well, I agree that the common sense factor needs to be in there. But I do believe, and I agree with you, that the TSA group in general, they're doing an excellent job making sure that, you know, people don't slide through. But there's a lot of personal bias that seems to creep into how they execute their jobs.
Personal bias? Really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Well, personal bias, and I'm not against. I think that they're, you know, the standards that they have put out there are fine. But I think if somebody looks at somebody, and you know, let's put away the 5-year-old for now.
Oh no, that's too good. That's too good.
I mean, I agree with you that if they look at the 5-year-old and it has come up on their screen or however. See, the background of why this person was centered out, I don't understand what that was. Whether it was a name that came up. You know, you hear stories about people who were centered out just because of their name, and it turns out they just have a name that's like somebody on the no-fly list. And it could be a 5-year-old child. You know, you keep hearing stories about these children who have to be pulled out of line because their name has been flagged.
It goes to the issue of, is there any provisions for common sense in all this?
There should be. I agree.
But what about what they call the backscan scanner, to where when you go through, you see all of the person?
Now, there's a lot of uproar about that, but I think that is a perfect way to get a full view of what could be considered dangerous, and it's quick. Now, there's a level of embarrassment, possibly, but they take very good care of making sure that the person is not seen by the general public, and you can't copy that off or make it available to the general public. So I think that is good. Now, on the opposite side of that is I have a friend who is a cancer survivor, and he views this as excessive radioactivity. And he's a frequent flyer, and he constantly makes special requests to be frisked versus going through any kind of scanning device.
So he's a happy flyer. No, I couldn't resist. Sorry, that was a joke.
But no, he understands what it is, and you see people, especially frequent flyers, who take the steps to make sure it's an easy transition. They wear, loose clothing, or they wear flip-flops, and they can get through the line very effectively. And I've traveled, and I've seen some airports that set up different lines for the business traveler who knows they're going to have to get out their computer and all their electronics, and then the family group that has the strollers and everything, and it takes a lot longer to go through there.
So I can understand that, but as a husband, I'm very, very hesitant to have anyone else other than myself or immediate family or myself to view my wife in all of her shining glory. And that's a personal problem, and it may be a moral problem, it may be a religious problem for some people. Personally, I think the backscan scanner is a little bit too revealing. I understand there might be software out there that's going to mute all of the really good viewable stuff, or as, what's the phrase they used, don't touch my junk, or the junk stuff. Have you heard about that being installed anytime recently, or would you be in favor of the actual full scan?
I'm all right with the full scan because I think it makes it safer. Now, yes, there's chances for embarrassing moments. I'm not going to deny that. And there's certain liberties that get exposed into that. But I think the level of security that it allows me on a plane, I would be willing to go through it.
You know what I would like to see?
Oh, yeah,
what kind of credentials some of these people have, kind of their backgrounds, because, we know there's so many times when you're doing jobs where you have to have certain security, security clearance, you have to have certain training, you got to show some, some character, because you can't talk about these things. There's a lot of things that go into this, where the person that's actually doing this should have to be trained a certain way and have a certain kind of a background, so that not just anyone gets up and takes on that particular position. I think that's important, because I think.
But I agree with that, because that goes back to my earlier statement that there are so many airports and so many privately run security in the airports that it's hard to maintain that level of security. I mean, back when I was traveling a lot, I remember having somebody tell me that Detroit, if you're traveling internationally, go through Detroit. They're a little less intrusive. So they're out there, and people know of them. And I think that, we need to standardize to make sure that we're doing the same thing in every location with accountable people.
And my point of view is, don't view my junk. To you, T. Wayne.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I'm glad I got a chance to get in on that one, because I really, again, when I went through the airport, I was glad that I had a chance to get frisk and all that came up, just so I could find out kind of how all that felt and how they handled it.
I'm happy for you, T. Wayne.
Well, next we got Julia. She's going to go ahead and
Yes, I have a couple of did you knows. In 1876, the American Library Association was established in Philadelphia. In 1886, Griswold Lorillard fashioned the very first tuxedo for men. How's that? Okay, T. Wayne, do you have some closing remarks for us?
I would like to say for all those people out there that could use Toastmasters and use the Toastmasters experience, I want to say, if you're hesitating, if you're kind of wondering what's going on, I want you to check us out. And I want to leave you with this. In anything you're doing, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Thank you.
You have been listening to Toastmasters Table Talk. It's WCRX-LP, Columbus, Ohio, 1021 FM, the broadcast radio service of the Bexley Public Radio Foundation. And remember, visit us on our website, www.WCRXLP.com. And for all you listeners out there, get yourself prepared this week, because guess what's going to happen next weekend? It's time to fall back an hour on the clock. Some will like that, some won't. Have a great week. See you next Monday, 10 a.m.